This is it. This is the design school where I went to college. This is where I learned digital animation. And I'm not going to say it's the only reason, but one of the reasons why I figured I wanted to study this career was because I thought it was a path to the Oscars. Now, also one of the reasons why I ended up dropping out was because I figured this was not going to get me to the Oscars anytime soon. But I'll get to that. Come on, who wouldn't want to attend the Oscars? If you don't care about film, then I guess this is irrelevant to you. But if you're into movies, the Oscars is sort of like the biggest event of the year, at least in the Americas. Wouldn't it be the most awesome thing to attend? And I'm not talking about attending like sneaking in or even being a seat filler. No, I'm talking about attending like a guest, like you were actually invited to this thing and being able to sit down next to the people that you look up to, people that have, created the movies that inspired you. And in my case, that's very true. They inspired me to become a digital animator. And wouldn't you want to attend this in a way where you're both invited, you're both sort of attending as equals, and therefore, if you come across one of these guys in the hallway, you can have a conversation or have a quick drink and have a chit chat. And genuinely, I've fantasized in my life of what I would tell Quentin Tarantino if I met him like that. I'm not talking about like screaming at him from the crowd like a fan. I'm not talking about interrupting him at dinner. I'm talking about, hey, we are both here at the Oscars, invited. Let's just have a chat. What would I tell Quentin Tarantino? I still have no idea. But let's be real. Most of us could dedicate our whole lifetimes to try and be nominated or accepted into the Oscars and still not get in. It's a question of talent, isn't it? It's not about how much you dream about it. It's not about how much effort you put into it. It's a question of talent. You might have it or not have it, and the Oscars, I think that's the... Hold on a second. In that case, who are all these people? So, there must be other ways to get in, right? Oh yes, there are. And I have found them all. Okay guys, so I think that the best way I can split this for you is dividing it by talent required. So there are ways to attend the Oscars if you have no talent, if you have some talent, or if you're a complete movie star. So let's start with the no talent part, which I guess is the one that most of us could dream of having access to. And the first one, I still have to mention it, is seat fillers.
Oh my gosh, there's just seat fillers all over the place. Hi, what's your name? Steve.
The job of a seat filler is to seat whenever a star needs to kind of get up and present an award or actually receive that award, or maybe they got hungry.
That seat right there is Leonardo DiCaprio's seat. Honestly, he was in the seat for like 10 minutes and he's been gone ever since.
So there needs to be a lot of people on standby so that on TV, you don't see a single empty seat in the theater, right? That's the idea. There are approximately 300 seat fillers for a given ceremony. Becoming a seat filler at any award show is easy-ish. You have to kind of fill up an application form, but you could potentially get accepted for the Grammys or for the Emmys. But for the Oscars, it's a little different. I guess the demand is a little too high. The only way is if you work for the Academy. Some news outlets have reported that relatives of Academy employees can attend, as well as PricewaterhouseCoopers employees. So PwC is the company that does the vote counting. But again, there needs to be some familiarity here. They need to arrive at the theater at 8:30 a.m. on the date of the ceremony. They go through a whole induction. They need to be dressed up all day. And the most important rule here is they are completely forbidden from speaking to anybody unless spoken to. So there are apparently a couple stories of seat fillers who have befriended stars and they've been invited to the after party at the Oscars. So it's also not completely impossible to get an invitation if you don't have a connection to people at the Academy or if you work there. There's a story reported in the news that a couple sent this poem plus video plus kind of funny application thing, and they apparently got accepted even though they were not connected to the Academy whatsoever. So it's not impossible, but it's pretty hard. The next way to get in is by being an executive at a movie studio. So the theater, which seats 3,400 people, has a few seats reserved for movie studio executives. And I couldn't find any information about how many seats that is, meaning how many executives or how far down the chain you can be to still get an invitation. And that's probably the way Jeff Bezos attended the ceremony a couple of years back.
Jeff Bezos is here!
Oh, great actor.
He is an executive at Amazon Studios, which was nominated for 3 movies that year. Another way, which, I mean, we talked about the Oscars as a filmmaking talent sort of thing, but if you don't have any talent in filmmaking, you can still get in for other reasons, but you still need a talent.
Thank you for bringing me Samsung.
The people that get invited to either present an award or to perform at the Oscars, these are talented people, maybe singers, songwriters, get to attend, not because they were nominated, but because they are performing. So a bit of a stretch. I guess it counts as no filmmaking talent. And last but not least, on the no talent category, you have the option to go in as a +1. So any member of the Academy can bring a +1. That's nice, I guess. You sort of have to befriend or become the significant other of an Academy member so that you are the +1. But if you are nominated, you get to bring 3 guests. So you might be a +3. Now, one note here is that all tickets are paid except the ones for the nominees. So the ticket itself is $750 that the nominee or the Academy member that they're bringing a +1, they have to pay for that ticket. The ticket to the Governor Ball, one of the after parties to the Oscars, is $1,500, and not everybody who attends the Oscars gets an invitation to that. Now, let's look at the some talent options to get in. Okay, so joining the Academy. I don't know how hard it is to join the Academy. I just researched how you join the Academy. So the whole thing with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is that you can only get in by sponsorship, not by application. So you can't apply to join. 2 members of the Academy have to sponsor you to get it. But when we think the Academy, we think Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. But there are 8,500 members of the Academy, and the Academy is split by branches. So there is the actors branch, which of course you're more familiar with, maybe the director's branch, but there's also the sound branch and the editing branch and the visual effects branch. So joining the Academy through one of those branches, I wanna believe it could be easier if you have people to sponsor you. A super crucial variable. There are 8,500 members of the Academy, but only 3,400 seats in the theater. So not everybody in the Academy gets to attend the Oscars. So you have, of course, the nominees and their guests, but the Academy members that get to attend are chosen via lottery. And if you get picked, you can buy your pair of tickets. So 2 tickets, $750 each. This is definitely in the some talent category because maybe there are some of these 8,500 plus members of the Academy are not as talented as the ones that get nominated. With talent, and I sort of learned this through my time in college, there are careers where talent that you're born with is absolutely needed to succeed, right? Most design careers are based on that. But there are some technical careers that, yes, they require some creativity, but beyond that, they require technical skill. I don't want to offend anybody in these categories, but I think that careers like editing or careers like visual effects or Academy branches like production. What is the producer in the film? A lot of people don't understand this part. The person that gets the award for Best Picture is not the director of the film, it's the producer. So the producer is more or less the boss of the film. It's not the director as many people believe. The job of the producer is to recruit everybody on the film and to make sure that that film goes through. They're sort of the boss of the director to tell them they can't do this thing or they can't do this scene this way because there's simply no budget for that. So the producer kind of chooses the perfect crew. They choose the script, hire the director, hire the casting person. So it's the producer that wins the Best Picture award, not the director. So production, or I believe, maybe I'm wrong, and please correct me if I am, but I believe that being a film producer is something that doesn't require this native talent. It requires connections, it probably requires money, it requires an amazing understanding of film to understand what makes a successful film, but you're not doing any of those, let's call them artistic things that make a film successful. I want to use a random example for production on the movie Parasite, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture last year. An amazing film, by all means. But the Academy Award for Best Picture went to 2 people, the producers, and that's Kwak
Shin-ae and Bong Joon-ho, producers.
Bong Joon, who also directed the film and is a genius, yes. But the producer award went to Kwok Sin-ai as well.
Parasite has 6 Academy Award nominations and is the first film not in the English language to win Best Picture.
Kwok Sin-ai is a producer from Korea. She had produced other films in the past. I'm sure she was deeply involved in what an amazing film Parasite was. But her skill or her award goes to the logistics, probably to the money, to the fundraising, to the distribution, to the promotion of the film. So it's a different set of skills than what you normally think of this native good actor, bad actor talent. And then you can produce other things. You don't have to produce, Best Picture. And that's where I'm getting to with the last window on this video. Okay, let's say that you have talent. Let's say that you're pushing and you're dedicating your life to attending the Oscars, right? Yes, you can go the actors route, but there are very, very talented actors who have never been recognized, not even for a nomination. But other routes to the Oscars are other, let's call them smaller, but by no means small. Let's call them smaller awards, like Best live action short film or Best animated short film, which was what I very naively thought that I could someday aspire to. The people who produce these films, the people who make these films, they're making them out of passion, they're making out of scratching resources, they don't have big budgets to promote them or to get people to watch them, like the other films do.
Guys, please just kind of donate, give what you can. We're trying to promote hair positivity and, just inspiring young kids to
Hair
just...
Love, Matthew A. Cherry, and Karen Rupert.
This is the first Oscar and nomination for Matthew A. Cherry and Karen Rupert Tolliver.
Give me just a sec. Let's talk about that. Let's say that you want to get a nomination for one of these awards, for any award. How does that work? All right, so getting nominated. Maybe this is a little bit of a stretch in this video. For the sake of the documentary and the research, here's how to get nominated to the Oscars if you wanted to go that path. Now, first, of course, you have to make a film. And second, you have to submit that film. So not every film that gets released in a year gets considered for the Oscars. You sort of have to submit that for consideration. The deadline to submit that is December, and you have to fill a bunch of forms. And there are some requirements there, which are that the film or the short film must have been presented on a theater for at least 7 days. And I believe that theater needs to be in a certain county in California. Now, of course, movie studios like Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, if they want a film to be considered, they have to actually release that film in one of those theaters. Now, the other major part of this is you have to promote that film. And that's where this gets a little bit controversial. Why? Because promoting a film takes money. Some movie studios spend millions upon millions of dollars promoting that film not to the general audience, but to the Academy members, because they want that film to be watched, because they want that film to be nominated. Why? Because winning an Oscar inevitably brings you a lot of money, not only in your movie tickets, but in your future sales in that film. It's the prestige of being nominated or being an Oscar winner. By the way, it's important to understand that you can promote your film for different awards. For example, you can submit a film for editing or for acting. Now remember, we talked about branches. Each branch gets to vote for the nominees of their own branch. So if a film gets submitted for Best Cinematography, it's only the cinematographers that vote on whether that film gets nominated. Any Academy Award member can only belong to one branch. So Brad Pitt, for example, who's been producing films in the past few years, he belongs in the actors branch, but he can't belong in the producers branch. Each member of the Academy gets to vote on the films that are nominated for their own category and gets to nominate a film for Best Film. So everybody votes on the Best Film nominees. If you're submitting a film as a foreign film, there are some other special requirements. Each country can only submit one movie to the Oscars. So you have to sort of navigate the bureaucracy of each country to make sure that you are the movie that gets that ticket. Now, as nominations are submitted for each category, the top 5 contendants or the top 5 most voted films get selected. For the longest time, apparently up until 2017, all of this was submitted via physical mail-in ballots. Apparently, this has been digitalized in the past few years. Then PricewaterhouseCoopers takes care of counting those votes and selecting the nominees. So up to 5 nominees for each one of the categories. Of course, the top 5 voted. And then for Best Film, between 5 and 10 movies get nominated. This happened because at some point they increased the number of nominees to 10, and that sort of made the bar not so great, where 2-3 films weren't really deserving of a Best Picture nomination. So they changed that recently, where there's a range from 5 to 10, but you have to get a minimum percentage of votes from the Academy to actually get that film nominated for Best Picture. After the nominees have been announced, everybody in the Academy gets a ballot, and they get to vote on all the categories, not just their own. Now, there's some controversy here because at this point, everybody's voting on all the categories. So you might be voting on a category that you don't really understand. The Academy encourages members not to vote on categories that they don't really understand. But this stuff on who wins is just way over the scope of the video. Hope this was useful. Hope that in a few years, if you really set your mind to it, you can attend the Oscars. By the way, this is the first video that I make in over a year. I've been in lockdown with the pandemic. Work at Slide has been crazy, and I just haven't had time to produce stuff for my own channel. So I'm not gonna say I'm gonna see you next week, because it's probably gonna take me a couple of weeks to edit the next video, but there are some really interesting topics that I've been wanting to cover for a while, and that I'm finally finding the time to do. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe, leave a comment if this was useful or at least fun, and I'll see you soon.